What's up, Cowboys Nation? Welcome back to another video. It is week 13 in the NFL, and the real season has begun. The Dallas Cowboys are taking on the Seattle Seahawks. Let's talk about it.
Prescott, touchdown. Throw, look the middle, sacked again by Parsons again. CeeDee Lamb, was he down? They say no for now, and he's into the end zone.
As always, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more Cowboys content. This is where the real football begins, just like future Hall of Famer Zach Martin said in the press conference in his interviews last week during practice. He said after Thanksgiving, this is where it picks up. These are where the games matter, not just for the Dallas Cowboys, but for every other team in the NFL. And I'm really excited for this game here for a lot of reasons. Not only is it going to be on Prime Video, we have one game a year. Last year was the Titans. We were rocking our really cool Arctic white uniforms. However, that's not the case for this one. Cowboys are just rocking the white uniforms. But the Cowboys are back at home, and we have this glorious 3-game home stretch that we talked about in previous pregame prediction videos. Shout out to those that have been watching them. Like I said, this is game 2, so we're in the middle. We had the Thanksgiving game against the Commanders, then we have this game against the Seahawks, and then we had that big one against the Philadelphia Eagles. But what's really nice is we get a little mini bye week. So after this Thursday night game, we're not going to be seeing the Philadelphia Eagles until the next week on Sunday. So lots of things to look forward to here. And the Cowboys are 5-0 at home, as we all know. Longest winning streak at home for any NFL team. I believe it's 13 with the win over the Commanders, or it could be 14. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's 13. And the Cowboys were undefeated last season. They remain undefeated right now, 5-0. And the Seahawks coming to Dallas. Seahawks are coming to AT&T Stadium. They are 6-5. They are also 2-3 on the road. So on the loser spectrum, below 500 when it comes to bringing their A game on the road. And most notably, you may have heard me, I said 6-5. And the big headline all week has been, or not all week, but all season, is the Dallas Cowboys have not beaten anyone over 500. And this is their first chance. Well, not their first chance. They had a chance with the Eagles and the 49ers. But this is another chance here to get some confidence, boost themselves, and get a win over a 500 team. Now, I'll just say this. It's the Seattle Seahawks. I've been looking at every game that they played. I've been looking at all the stats. The Seahawks are, let me say this. So how I felt about the Cowboys and Vikings game last year, and if you guys saw that pregame prediction, if you haven't, go check it out. What I said during that pregame prediction video is I get it. This is what their record says. This is who they are. But when you look at the stats, it was completely misleading. And the stats showed last season the Vikings were a subpar team. They weren't executing as much. I mean, their point differential was insane. Now, am I saying that the Seattle Seahawks are exactly that? Not at all, because the Vikings were much better at this point of the season than the Seattle Seahawks at this point of the season. But if we look at the stats, and we're going to pull them up, and we're going to look at them together, 6-5 is honestly a gracious record for the Seattle Seahawks for how they're performing on the field, how the statistics look for the field. I'm just saying, don't be too fearful. Don't be scared, Cowboys Nation. The Seattle Seahawks are not as good as their record says. I know what you are. I know your record is what you are. I get it. I love Bill Parcells, Hall of Famer. He said it. But I'm just telling you, I have that same feeling that I did last year against the Cowboys and Vikings, where I knew the Cowboys were going to win that one. On paper, this looks like a 6-5 team versus an 8-3 team, and maybe a glimpse at a potential playoff matchup. Not the case. Cowboys are definitely the better team, and I expect them to take care of business. And I'll just say it. They should take care of business. And I feel like these games are ramping up in intensity, like I've been saying in the past pregame prediction videos, because the Giants, we were going to take care of that one. The Panthers, a little bit of adversity. Commanders found a little bit of weakness in our defense when it comes to the short pass game. And then now we get to play the Seahawks. And, I'll just say the Seahawks aren't going to the playoffs. Right now, They're sitting at the 7th seed. As I make this video, this is Monday night, so the Vikings and the Bears are playing right now. Depending on what the Bears are going to do and what the Vikings are going to do, that's going to change this playoff picture, but I'll put it up here. This is temporary, of course, and it always moves. But as you can see, the Cowboys and the Falcons got a really nice wild card matchup right there, and that's dependent on the Eagles and the number 1 seed, and we will get into that here later on. But I'm just going to tell you, the Seahawks are not going to make the playoffs. That is my prediction. I'm telling you right now, this is not a playoff team. 6-5 may be their record right now as of week 13, but they will not have a winning record by the end of the season. They're just not a good team. There's nothing about them that scares me. I mean, they have a strict formula. They have a style of playing Seattle football that lures opponents in. But that's only if they're committing turnovers, making mistakes. Now, are the Cowboys vulnerable to doing that? Absolutely. They can absolutely commit to that. We've seen it done this season. But the way that the Cowboys are playing right now, I like them. I think they're really good. And they're currently on a 2-game losing streak. The Seattle Seahawks and the Cowboys are on a 3-game winning streak, so I expect nothing to change here. Let's jump on in. Be sure to like and subscribe. And let's take a look at this Cowboys defense versus the Seahawks offense. Look at it, right there. I mean, stats don't lie. And I tell you guys all the time, you definitely don't want to base your entire opinion on stats, but stats are supposed to be there to help support you, help lead you, help you make decisions and choices. And, if you look right here, there's something. I was actually really surprised when I saw this. I thought they were going to be a little bit higher, maybe top 20, maybe top 15. Because I've been, if you look at the Seahawks schedule, and we'll put this up really quick right here, then we'll go, and maybe we might go back to the stats here. But if you look at the wins that they've had, okay, Detroit, that's a really good win, but it's early in the season. I mean, a lot of things happen in the first week of football. You beat the Panthers, but you gave up 27 points to the Panthers. You beat the Giants. Everyone beats the Giants, just not the Patriots. You beat the Cardinals. Now, I'm not going to poke the bear on that one too much because we did beat the Cardinals. Now, you beat the Browns. Now, however, they didn't have Deshaun Watson, but who's to say that Deshaun Watson actually makes a difference? But that was a really impressive win against Cleveland because Cleveland has a really good defense. They got knocked out in Baltimore, 37-3. They beat the Commanders. We all know about the Commanders. So you look at those wins; those are expected because the Seahawks they're slightly above average in terms of a football team. I don't want to go so far and say they're above average, but I mean those are wins that I would take them in each of those weeks. And then you look at the losses. They've been swept by the Rams. Obviously, the Cowboys destroyed the Rams. They got beat by the 49ers. They got beat by the Ravens. So there's more to say about the consistency of their losses that when they face a really good team like the Ravens and the 49ers, I mean, they get their brakes beaten off. But when they play the subpar teams, it could be closer. It could, they could take advantage. And that's kind of the story of the Seahawks right now is they're not really consistent and hence why they're 6-5. But if we go back to the stats here, stats don't lie. I mean, this team, I looked at every single one of their games that they won and that they lost. Like I said, the Seahawks have a really specific style of playing and they want to keep it close. They want to just hold on to you until the fourth quarter. And if they got you committing penalties, if they got turnovers from you, and if they've done those things really well and they won in the trenches, which they're actually really good at, I'll give them that. The Seahawks are actually pretty solid in the trenches, meaning their defensive line and their offensive line. But they can, I don't want to disrespect this, but I don't want to disrespect their wins, but they're almost like they stole wins. They played them really close, and they were very clutch in those moments, but they stole wins at the end of the game, and that's a game plan. I mean, if you can keep it close, give yourself an opportunity at the end of the game, yeah. I mean, week 2 against the Lions and, stealing a win against the Browns, and, they didn't have Deshaun Watson. So that's where I'm at with that. But the Seahawks have one of the better offensive lines versus the rush. Key to this game will be pressuring Geno Smith. If you allow Geno Smith to sit back there, I don't care what caliber of a quarterback you have back there. If anyone has all day back there, they're going to pick you apart. So name of the game, again, is always to pressure the quarterback. Cowboys are one of the best, if not the best in the league when creating that pressure. And Dan Quinn just seems to be in his bag right now, dialing up those plays, sending different guys, putting different guys in different positions, being versatile. And I expect nothing different here. And like I said, the Seahawks are 2-3 on the road. They're averaging 18.6 points on the road, so not really high. We had this discussion later in the season when we were talking about the Cowboys on the road. Usually under 3 touchdowns, unfortunately, is not going to get you a win in the NFL. You probably want to be up in the 4 or the 5 touchdown area, so like 25 to 30 points to give yourself a really good chance to win the game. And they just haven't. I mean, that's why they're 2-3 on the road, and they allow 21 points. So that's the other thing. Okay, and so that's the other thing, right? Let me step back there. They're scoring 18 points and their offense isn't producing as much, but their defense is keeping it close. They're allowing 21 points. So there's a differential there. That's why, they've been able to steal games there. Now, this is just for the road, but, they're 6-5 overall. But like I said, so the way to beat them is don't allow them to get there to that point where they can keep it close and, just can't turn over the ball. You can't turn over the ball. You got to control the run game. They got Kenneth Walker, who's had a pretty solid season. Obviously, they got DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, but I feel really confident with our guys in the secondary with Stephon Gilmore and Deron Bland going up against those guys. And I just think this is really another game where the defensive line for the Dallas Cowboys takes over. And could it be close in the first half? Possibly. Do I think it's going to be close in the first half? Not really. But this is another game that if it comes to that, the Cowboys, again, they're built better. They have more depth, so they can wear you down as the game goes. So the Seahawks, just to be respectful, the Seahawks could make it a contest in the first half, and if that's the case, I'm still not worried because the Cowboys have shown time and time again that obviously both sides of the football, the offensive line and the defensive line, have been better, and this defensive line will break down their run game, their pass protection, whatever it is, and Geno Smith will get sacked, he will be pressured, and it will cause turnovers. So let's jump into my defensive predictions. With all that being said, I think the Cowboys get 2 sacks. Yeah, I'm going to say they get 2 sacks. Obviously, they've been on the higher count of the sacks there, but, I think Geno Smith is fairly smart with the ball. He can get rid of it. He doesn't really do anything crazy. That's what's worked so well in Seattle for him and for the Seahawks and their offense is Geno Smith doesn't really turn over the ball as much last season. This year, he's 12 touchdowns and 8 interceptions, so obviously a little bit of struggle there. And since we're talking about interceptions, I do believe the Cowboys have multiple interceptions in this game on Thursday night. I believe they get 2 interceptions from Geno Smith, and I believe this defense continues a really good set of games here, and they continue their dominance at home, and I believe they hold the Seattle Seahawks under 20 points. But be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching this video again as we tune into Week 13, another Thursday night matchup. Let's take a look at this Cowboys offense versus the Seahawks defense. Let's bring up that stat sheet again. This Cowboys offense is rolling, man. It's finally coming together, and it's a sight to behold. Dak Prescott has fit so well into that Texas Coast offense. And it really isn't just the strength of the opponent that they're playing. There are things that are actively working for Dak Prescott in terms of the offense. And the running game, it's slowly getting better. So it got good. It was looking really good it looked fine against the Giants. There was a spark there with Rico Dowdle. And then we got some running game against the Panthers. And then I thought the Commanders game was probably the best running effort we've had since that loss against the Arizona Cardinals because TP20 ran for 100 yards in Arizona. So a lot of confidence. And like I said, I've said this every pregame prediction video. It's important to build up that confidence as the games go along because we got this really tough stretch coming up with the Eagles, the Bills, the Dolphins, the Lions, and the Commanders. And so I feel like the Cowboys are in a really great place right here. I mean, they've done everything that I would have wanted to see. They've taken care of business against the subpar teams. And now this next stretch, you're at home, and it's giving you a clear advantage. And so I'll say this about the Seahawks, though. They actually have a very solid defensive line, and this is where they can actually make it a game and make things complicated for the Dallas Cowboys. The Seahawks have generated 32 sacks. Now, for reference, the Cowboys have generated 37 sacks. So as much as I love our pressure, and it's one of the best in the league, you got to give credit to the Seattle Seahawks. They're at 32, so they can generate pressure. Now on the other side, the Cowboys offensive line has been playing some of its best football all season long. Ever since that Eagles game, they've come together and they've played really well together. I expect a little confrontation here, a little bit of adversity here. I wouldn't be surprised if they got to Dak a couple of times, but again, we're built better. We're going to run over you. We're going to win in those trenches, and we're going to win the long game here. So they could have our number 1 or 2 quarters at the beginning of the game, but the Cowboys will find a way and get their way through it. And if you take a look at our games here, just really dominant at home, like everyone knows, 5-0, averaging over 40 points. And here's the thing, guys. The Cowboys have got to start fast. I'll admit this because I'm your unbiased and realistic Cowboys fan. There is an issue with their mentality. It's almost as if they're playing. It's almost as if they're paying too much attention to the record of who they're playing. And they get too conservative. What I really want to see coming out of this game is just, score on the opening drive, attack vertically, take control of this game. Don't give them any kind of idea for the Seahawks to come back and fight their way back into this game. There is no reason why the Cowboys should not throw for a lot of yards and take control over here offensively for yet another week. The Cowboys vertical attack with their wide receivers, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, Brandon Cooks, Jalen Tolbert. Jake Ferguson should be in for a really big day against the Seahawks defense. But like I said, it's almost like a mentality issue because once it's like they know and they start playing conservative. And if the Cowboys can just go back to that, all the shirts that they're wearing at training camp and at practice, it says Carpe Omnia. If they can just continue to seize everything and, not run on first down, run on second down, and then go to a pass on third down. No, just attack. Just attack. Everything goes so much better when the Cowboys are attacking and playing to win. Carpe Omnia, seize everything. Keep this train moving. Don't be conservative. This team is really good. You can go out there and get the win, no doubt, and have this offense put up more points. So here's my offensive predictions. I believe Dak Prescott has 3 touchdowns. I believe he continues what I believe is an MVP race. He's in the conversation, and I think this is just only going to generate more noise. I think you got to give credit to this defense for the Seahawks. They're really good at getting pressure, so it would not surprise me if Dak threw an interception. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, but I don't think it's going to throw the game out of balance. So there's more of my predictions about Dak Prescott. Now, as for touchdowns, I got CeeDee Lamb catching a touchdown. I think he gets another one on the season. And like I said, I believe Jake Ferguson has a really big day. So Jake Ferguson's going to get in the end zone here. And for all you fantasy owners, go ahead and put Tony Pollard as your starter here because I think he's going to have a really solid running day. And I do believe he finds his way into the end zone on Thursday. Well, there you have it. Thanks again for liking and subscribing and watching this video. We've come to our game prediction. Now, before I give you my game prediction here, I got to tell you this game is super important. Obviously, every game after Thanksgiving is going to be super important, and we're really into the games that mean so much to every other team, and especially the Seahawks are on a 2-game losing streak. They're trying to fight their way back into the NFC West. But let me tell you, this game can change a lot, and this game can shake up a lot of things. First off, let's talk about this NFC East race, and let's talk about that number 1 seed. The Cowboys still have an opportunity here, especially with the Lions dropping a game on Thanksgiving to the Packers. The Cowboys can easily, I don't want to say easily, but the Cowboys have a chance to control their own destiny and get up to the number 1 seed. Well, the 49ers are a good team. I was about to say nothing scares me in the NFC. The Eagles don't frighten me. I think they're finding ways to win, which is great for them. But I do believe if the Cowboys execute again when they see them in next week, the Cowboys should win that game. But the Eagles, they're playing the 49ers. And I'm going to tell you right now, 49ers are going to win that game. Yes, 49ers are going to win that game. They're better than they were last season, obviously, with Brock Purdy being back and that defensive line. I mean, if the Bills had that 49ers defense, the Bills win that game and they take control. And the 49ers are just better. So the 49ers are going to win that game. Now the Eagles are going to drop to 10-2. And I'll tell you exactly what's going to happen. Eagles are going to drop down to 10-2. If the Cowboys can win this game, they go up to 9-3. Now you're setting up a matchup in Week 14 at AT&T Stadium with the 10-2 Philadelphia Eagles and the 9-3 Dallas Cowboys. At that point, you still control your destiny. So if you beat the Eagles next week with everything that I just mentioned, the Eagles are on a 2-game losing streak. They drop down to 10-3. The Cowboys jump up 10-3. Now you're fully into the race, not even just the NFC East, but you're in the race for the number 1 seed. So this game is super important, and I don't expect anything different. I believe the Cowboys are going to take care of business and handle this, and they're finally going to, silence the critics about, Dak can't do this over a team over 500. But just be ready. What is this? This is the goalpost. Just be ready. When the Cowboys win and when the Cowboys dominate the Seahawks, like I know they will, and they'll take care of business and they'll win decisively, people are going to do this. They're going to start moving the goalposts, because before this game, it was Dak can never do this against a 500 team, an above 500 team. Dak and the Cowboys can't do this against an above 500 team. Well, the Seahawks came to town. They were 6-5, so that obviously fits your criteria. And when the Cowboys dominate them, they're going to move the goalpost. They're going to be like, oh, well, it was the Seahawks. Oh, well, they're not the best in the NFC West. Oh, well, they're going to do this. Just watch. I'm predicting it. I'm telling you that's exactly what's going to happen, but the Cowboys will take care of business. I got the Cowboys winning at home against the Seattle Seahawks to extend their winning streak to 4 games, and they're going to be 6-0 at home for the season. I got the Dallas Cowboys winning 37-20 and moving to 9-3, and they're going to have a huge game, setting up a huge game against the Philadelphia Eagles next week. But be sure to drop down your offense and your defense predictions, and of course your game prediction and your score prediction. I always love hearing all of that. But I will see you guys later. Be sure to check out the film breakdowns from last week. Be sure to check out the Madden predictions. Be sure to check out my NFL picks. A lot of content going around on this channel as the season progresses. And of course, I will see you guys after the game Thursday night. I cannot wait. Go Cowboys.
Prescott.